Family meeting. My mother, Linda, didn't even sit down. She stared at me and said, "Your wedding, not a penny." My sister Brooke snorted, "Try again next life." My father, Mark, studied the carpet like it had answers. I swallowed the scream, said one word, "Understood," and walked out. 2 years of plans erased in 10 seconds. Ever had someone kill your dream, then call it responsible parenting? Here's the punch. I designed my own dress, and Linda lifted the sketch, smiled, and whispered, "Delusions don't need fabric," then tore it in half. Tell me, if it were you, would you beg or burn the script? Drop a comment. Hit subscribe if you're ready for the phone call that blew this wide open, because the circus wasn't my wedding. It was my family. I grew up in a house where every laugh had a leash. If you've ever had joy, but only on someone else's schedule, you already know the flavor of my childhood. My mother, let's call her Linda, believed control was kindness with good posture. My father, Mark, believed silence was wisdom. And my sister Brooke believed rules were furniture. They were just there to lean on while she got what she wanted. When I was 10, I drew dresses the way other kids drew castles. Ink-stained fingers, scratchy paper, a brain buzzing with fabric names I couldn't afford. One afternoon, Linda picked up my sketchbook like it was a broken plate. She smiled, the kind of smile that makes you colder, and said, "Ambition is fine, delusion is not." Then she slid my book into the trash. Mark cleared his throat and studied the clock. Brooke squinted at a drawing and said, "Cute. Halloween costumes?" That was it. No raised voices, just a quiet execution. Do you know that moment when your body learns not to flinch, it learns to fold? By high school, I became the girl who colored inside lines I didn't draw. I learned to read Linda's eyebrows. They were meteorologists for the storm in the room. She edited my wardrobe, my friends, my after-school jobs. When it came time for college, she said, "Design is a hobby, accounting is a future." I nodded because nodding kept the peace and the Wi-Fi. On scholarship forms, I wrote accounting, and under breath, I whispered someday. If you're listening to this and you've ever traded your name for approval, hit like. Not because it helps the algorithm, though, hey, but because it tells someone else they aren't crazy. Enter Eric, not a prince, not a paycheck. A man who laughs with his whole mouth and asks questions like he expects answers to be complicated. We met at a community fundraiser, the kind my family called small town theater. He mentored kids after school. He wasn't flashy, he was steady. When I told Linda we were dating, she hummed like a refrigerator and said, "Service work is noble until the rent's due." Mark said, "At least he's polite." Brooke grinned. "Ambition optional, I see." Hooked yet? Because here's the twist, I didn't leave. I did the unglamorous thing. I kept showing up for a love that showed up for me. We saved for a wedding ourselves. No dramatic proposal on a cliff, just a kitchen table, a spreadsheet, and 2 mugs of cheap coffee. We picked a venue called the Ivy House, small and honest, with brick walls that looked like they've heard stories and kept them. I wish I could tell you my family softened. Instead, Linda upgraded her diplomacy. "We'll help," she said, voice wrapped in silk. "I want the best for you." If you hear that sentence and your stomach drops, comment "me too." The best in Linda speak often meant best for Linda, but I wanted the miracle, approval. So I let her help, with deposits, with vendor calls, with a tone that said, "We're civilized women, we don't raise our voices, we raise our standards." The day of the family meeting felt like a play I hadn't auditioned for. Linda didn't sit. Brooke was sprawled across the couch like a cat that pays rent. Mark stared at the rug like it owed him money. Linda said, "Your wedding? Not a penny." Brooke added, "Try again next life." Mark adjusted his tie. It was 10 a.m. and we weren't going anywhere. I swallowed the scream I'd been nurturing since childhood and said one word, "Understood." Then I stood up and walked out. Did you feel that? Not the drama. The drop. 2 years of planning evaporated in 10 seconds. I didn't cry in the car. I didn't throw anything. I drove home with my hands gripping the wheel like a lifeline, and I laid every invitation back into its box. Shock lives in the body like static. You don't notice how much it hurts until it discharges. I sat at my kitchen table and stared at the dress sketch I'd hidden inside a tax folder, my little rebellion. And I thought, if pain is inevitable, what if humiliation isn't? Here's the part that still makes me shake. They weren't just cruel, they were organized. That's the flavor of betrayal that keeps you awake. The kind with calendars. But that belongs to the next act. For now, if you've ever been told your dream is adorable as long as it stays quiet, share this. Someone needs to hear it. And if you were me in that living room, would you beg or would you burn the script? Tell me in the comments. I'm listening. Shock is a fog. You can drive through it, but you shouldn't make big decisions inside it. The next morning, I called the Ivy House to confirm details because denial needed a friend. The coordinator paused, long enough for my stomach to understand before my brain did. "I'm so sorry, Ms. Hart," she said. "We received your cancellation yesterday with your signature." "My what?" She read the date and time. My throat went cold. If you've ever felt the floor rearrange itself under your feet, you know that vertigo. I thanked her because manners survived the apocalypse and hung up. I took my panic to someone whose job is to keep panic from winning, Diane Cole, an attorney who looks like she's allergic to nonsense. She didn't gasp or pat my hand. She clicked her pen and said, "Show me everything." I laid out invoices, deposit receipts, email printouts, my copy of the venue contract, and the budget spreadsheet that had become my second religion. Diane examined each page like a map. When she lifted the cancellation form, her eyebrows did the small jump of a person who doesn't jump. "This isn't your handwriting," she said, "and this isn't your signature. Someone forged you." The word forged hit me like a fire alarm. Then she turned pages and traced funds like a detective tracing footprints. And the footprints walked right into my family's house. Vendor payments diverted, refunds redirected, money reimbursed to a card that wasn't mine. And then, this is where the breath left me, transfers tagged SP Designs, Brooks Boutique. "They used your wedding account," Diane said evenly. "And if they touched other assets, we're not talking hurt feelings. We're talking crimes." That night, the house sounded different. Even the refrigerator hum felt suspicious. Eric sat next to me, close but not crowding, because he understands air matters during grief. "We'll fix it," he said. Not "I'll fix it," which is what men say in movies, but "we may." I forwarded Diane every digital breadcrumb. At midnight, my phone lit up. "Uncle Stephen, we aren't close." Close, but he's the family member who doesn't gasp at truth. He cleared his throat and said, "There's something you don't know. Your grandfather set up a trust, $250,000. It releases when you marry." Silence. He continued, "Your parents have been managing it. I found withdrawals, years of them." The air thinned. He said, he added, "If you'd gotten married, there would have been an audit. I think they canceled to avoid that." "Tell me that doesn't make your jaw clench." Diane moved like math. We pulled bank statements, traced account numbers, matched dates, followed refund trails. The story assembled itself without poetry, forged signature to cancel the venue, deposits rerouted to reconcile household expenses, payments posted to my parents' card, temporary, according to a note, and transfers to Brooks' rebrand and store renovations, and every line item was an apology written in accounting code. I wanted to rage. Instead, I got organized. If you're a survivor of this kind of quiet violence, you know, rage is a luxury. Documentation is power. The worst line of dialogue in this chapter came from Linda when we confronted her with the outline of what we knew, sis. She smiled like someone tasting soup and said, "We did what needed to be done. That boy would drag you down." I said very softly, "He's a better man than any of this house deserved." Brooke crossed her arms. "It's not my fault your money was just sitting there. Don't be dramatic." Mark said nothing. The fog cleared. I could see the architecture, Linda's control, Brooke's entitlement, Mark's plausible deniability. They didn't break me in a fit of rage. They tried to erase me with paperwork. If you're still with me, hit subscribe, because the next part isn't just catharsis, it's a caution manual. We filed fraud, forgery, misappropriation, not because I wanted a courtroom selfie, but because people who hide behind family rely on your shame to keep you quiet. On discovery, the numbers bloomed. The trust skimmed for emergencies, then for improvements. then for opportunities. Funny how the euphemisms get longer as the sums do. Diane said, "They thought you'd never look. They trained you not to." That line gutted me because it was true. Linda hadn't just controlled my choices, she'd trained my curiosity to stand in the corner. Here's the last punch of this act. Grief didn't leave when the investigation started. It deepened. Every new document felt like reading a diary where the villain is wearing your mother's perfume. But grief isn't the enemy of action. It's the evidence that you love something. Your dream, your younger self, the idea of family. If you've listened this far, share this with someone who's being told to keep the peace. Peace without truth is just quiet. And quiet was the mask my family wore while they reached into my future. Comment if you've ever had to choose proof over permission. I'll read every one. Courtrooms smell like pencils and endings. I sat beside Diane at the plaintiff's table, hands folded so tight I could feel my pulse in my thumbs. Across the aisle, Linda, pearls on, spine straight, Mark, tie crooked at 9 a.m. Brooke, scrolling until the bailiff told her to stop. When the judge entered, everyone stood. The clerk read, "Hart v. Hart." Strange how your last name can feel like a bruise. Diane didn't perform. She arranged facts like dominoes. "Your Honor, we will show that my client's wedding was canceled with a forged signature, that funds from her wedding account and a premarital trust were diverted to the defendant's personal debts and business expenses, and that these actions were intentional." She handed up exhibits, each page landing with a soft slap that sounded like justice learning to walk. The venue coordinator confirmed the cancellation came from me at a time I was at work, with a copy of a signature that looked like mine if I were drowning. Bank reps testified to routing numbers. Emails showed refunds moving to a card in Linda's name because of a clerical error, an error that happened 3 times. Uncle Stephen took the stand, palms damp, voice steady. "My father, her grandfather, established a $250,000 trust for her. Disbursement upon marriage. I noticed irregular withdrawals." Diane asked, "Who authorized those?" He said, "Linda and Mark as managers." Linda's attorney objected, said it was family management. Diane said, "Family isn't a legal defense for fraud." The judge raised an eyebrow like a door opening. Then came the part where the mask slipped. Diane asked Brooke about the renovation invoice for her boutique. Brooke smirked, habit, and said, "I didn't handle finances." Diane slid a document toward her. "Is that your signature on the vendor intake? And is that my client's trust account number?" Brooke's face drained to the color of the paper. Mom said." The judge held up a hand. "Answer the question." "Yes," she whispered. "If you've ever waited years for a truth to say its own name, you know what that moment feels like. It doesn't feel triumphant. It feels level." Linda tried one last story. "We were protecting her. That man can't provide." I turned, finally, and met her eyes. "You didn't protect me. You harvested me." The courtroom went still. Mark cleared his throat and muttered, "We only used what we needed." Diane said, "Need is not a legal standard." The judge's decision came down like winter. Full restitution of the misappropriated funds, immediate, plus $50,000 in damages for fraud and emotional distress. No handcuffs, no movie ending, just numbers, orders, and the first exhale my lungs had managed in months. I didn't dance on the courthouse steps. I went home and slept for 9 hours with the curtains open. The next morning, I walked into the Ivy House. Same brick, same arch, different girl. I didn't have a mother to adjust my veil or a father to walk me down an aisle, so I walked myself. If that sounds sad, you don't know the physics of freedom. Every step clicked a lock I didn't know was there. Eric stood at the end of the aisle with a crooked tie and eyes that say, "We." Our vows were short, true, ordinary, the way a good life is built, one small, honest thing at a time. After, there was music and cake and friends. Also after, an email drafted and sent. "Linda, Mark, Brooke, the court showed what words could not. I wish you the best. This is goodbye." No threats, no performance, just a boundary with a pulse. Then came the voicemails, apologies that sounded like public statements. We just want to talk. Things got out of hand. Family is forever. Here's the line that made me put my phone face down. Your father lost his job. Brooks' store is gone. We need your help. Do you feel that twist in your gut? Not revenge, recognition. The machine that ran on me finally ran out of... I typed one text. The circus is already full. It wasn't witty. It was accurate. Now, mornings are quiet in a way quiet is supposed to be. Fabric swatches on the table. A sketchbook that no longer hides in a tax folder. I'm building a first collection with the same hands that used to sign permission slips for my own life. I don't hate Linda. I don't forgive her either. I've learned there's a third way. I release her to her choices, and I choose mine. Here's my call to you. If you've ever been told your dream is only safe if it stays small like this, share it. Comment your story. Tell someone you trust. Not because virality heals, but because speaking is a muscle, and I want yours strong. And to the part of you that's still in a living room where someone says, not a penny, and someone else says, try again next life, and a third person stares at the rug, look at me. You can walk out, you can pick understood and make it mean watch me. You can take them to court if you need to, or you can take yourself to the life you were promised when you were 10 and drew something beautiful. If it were you, beg or burn the script. Drop your answer below and I'll be there, reading, cheering, and designing a world where our laughter doesn't need a leash. I didn't win a trophy, I reclaimed a life. I walked my own aisle, signed my own name, and chose quiet that isn't fear, it's peace. Some days the grief still tugs. The mom I wanted, the dad who never spoke up, the sister who thought my future was store credit. But here's what I know now, boundaries aren't punishment. They're instructions for how to love me. Choosing consequences over chaos wasn't revenge. It was self-respect with paperwork. I kept asking myself, if I stay small, who does that serve? Not me, not the girl who used to draw dresses by lamplight. So tell me honestly, am I in the wrong? Was I cruel for saying goodbye after the court did its job? Or was I finally kind to the one person I kept abandoning, myself? My takeaway is simple. When someone rewrites your life in secret, you're allowed to take the pen back, even if your hand shakes. If this hit a nerve, do one small thing for future you. Like the video so it finds the people who need it, drop a comment with your line in the sand, and share this with the friend who's still keeping the peace. I'm listening, and I'm rooting for you.